15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosu.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James, and it is many thanks for joining us. Quickly a look at the news making the rounds for today. Southern senators back governors on restructuring open grazing. In Madagascar, COVID-19 vaccine restores hope amid pandemic second wave. Israel declares emergency in LOD as unrest spreads. Firm reaffirms commitment to boosting Nigeria's crypto market. Man City crowned Premier League champions after United loss. Do also stay with us as we bring you a lineup of news stories just after this time out. Welcome back. And now the news in full. Southern senators back governors on restructuring open grazing. Senators from southern Nigeria have expressed their support for governors from their various geopolitical zones who are demanding the restructuring of the country and the immediate ban on open grazing in their respective states. The Forum of Southern Governors had announced a ban on open grazing in all the 17 southern states. They also recommended that the federal government should support willing states to develop alternative and modern livestock management systems. They called on President Muhammadu Buhari to, as a matter of urgency and importance, address Nigerians on the frightening state of insecurity across the nation and convoke a national dialogue. The Southern Senators Forum, in a statement, hailed the decision and resolutions of their governors and pledged to work with them for the actualization. They urged the state chief executives to immediately approach the leadership of the National Assembly for necessary legislative input to give their decisions the required legal backing. And moving forward, Fayemi grants clemency to 12 prisoners. Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi grants clemency to 12 inmates of the Nigerian Correctional Service at Ado-Ekiti Custodian Center. The Ekiti Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Olawale Fakpohunda says the inmates who were pardoned by the governor were serving various terms for offences such as stealing and housebreaking. Fakpohunda, who was represented by the Director of Public Prosecution, Julius Ajibari, says that the inmates were considered for clemency after recommendations by the Ekiti Committee on Prerogative of Mercy. Also, the beneficiaries are considered based on account of good conduct, remorsefulness, and period left to serve at the center, as he advised them to be of good conduct as they rejoin society, avoid conducts inimical to the peace of the society, and shun vengeance. The AG also urged them to avoid anything that could bring them back to the center. In another development, we have recovered $153 million from Destinies, says EFCC chairman. The new chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdul Rashid Bawa, states that the commission has recovered a whopping $153 million from former Petroleum Minister Dizani Alison Madueke, who has been staying in Britain since leaving office in 2015. Beyond the amount recovered from the former oil minister, no fewer than 80 choice property valued at $80 million have also been seized from her and handed over to the federal government. Bawa, who disclosed this, also served a notice that he was ready to relinquish his position if anyone brought pressure on him to do what was not legal in the discharge of his duties. But he was quick to add that bringing the former minister to justice was still far from reality, given the fact that she was out of Nigeria's jurisdiction and the challenges associated with bringing her home to face justice. The other cases as it relates to the $115 million INEC bribery is also ongoing across the Federation. They are looking forward to having her in the country and, of course, review things and see what will happen going forward. The case has certainly not been abandoned. And now looking at news stories coming from around Africa. In Madagascar, COVID-19 vaccine restores hope amid pandemic second wave. In Madagascar, 716 people have officially died from the coronavirus since 23 March 2020, and 38,874 cases have also been recorded. Now, while the numbers of deaths seem low compared to many countries around the world, the second wave in recent weeks have been particularly alarming. In 1 month, Madagascar has recorded more than 12,900 cases of coronavirus and no less than 240 deaths. In hospitals, the lack of oxygen and medical equipment has been felt. But with the arrival of the Covishield AstraZeneca vaccine, many locals are regaining hope. In this hospital in Ambatondranzaka, 7 hours drive from the Malagasy capital, 7 patients are hospitalized for COVID-19, 2 of whom have a severe form. Now, only 1 person per patient is allowed to enter the hospital for visits. Once there was a power cut and the generators did not work, and when the electricity is less powerful, the oxygen also goes down or stops. So looking at more news stories from around Africa, hundreds of migrants await evacuation from Lampedusa. Hundreds of migrants were waiting to be transferred from the tiny Italian island of Lampedusa after more than 2,000 migrants reached Lampedusa days before. The local migrant housing center had been empty but rapidly surpassed its 200-plus capacity. Dozens spent the night just outside the center, carefully watched by Italian state police and military personnel after spending hours on the dock. 800 migrants are ready to be transferred on board an unused passenger ferry dispatched to Lampedusa for quarantine, but rough seas and wind have so far prevented the ferry from docking at the small port of the island. The mayor said 800 are ready to leave and have already been tested for COVID-19, but they will spend 10 days on the ferry. The latest arrivals on Lampedusa, a 20-square-kilometer island closer to northern Africa than to the Italian mainland, was the biggest number of migrants to come ashore in a single day at an Italian port this year. Now, this year's arrival have already topped by far the number of migrants arriving via sea in the same period in each of the past 2 years. According to Interior Ministry figures, by May 10, 2019, just over 1,000 people have arrived by sea. By the same date in 2020, 4,184 had arrived, and this year, so far, nearly 13,000 have arrived. Right now, we'll be taking a break, and when we return, we shall be looking at other interesting news stories. Do well to stay with us.
My time has come. If there's a man to pray,
there's a God to answer.
There's a God to answer.
Making declarations early hours of the day. Exercise your authority in pulling down strongholds. 16 days, wonders without number. May edition with Apostle Johnson Suleiman.
From the 14th of May till the 30th, 16 days, wonders without number May edition will begin.
Date 14th through 30th May 2021 by 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. GMT+1. Live on Celebration TV and Sky Channel 598. My time has come.
Welcome back. I'm bringing you updates from Israel. Emergency has been declared in LOD as unrest spreads. Israel has declared a state of emergency in the central city of Lod after rioting by Israeli Arabs as conflicts between Israeli forces and Palestinian militants intensified. Cars were set alight and a father and daughter, both Israeli Arabs, died when a rocket hit their car. Palestinian militants fired hundreds of rockets deep into Israel, while Israel carried out heavy airstrikes on Gaza. At least 40 people have died in some of the worst violence in years. Israel's military says it is targeting militants in Gaza in response to rocket attacks on Jerusalem and other areas. More than 1,000 rockets have been fired towards central and southern Israel by Palestinian militants since when hostilities suddenly escalated, says the Israeli army. The Palestinian militant says they targeted the Israeli city of Tel Aviv after an Israeli airstrike demolished a tower block in the Gaza Strip. A second tower block collapsed in the Gaza Strip after another Israeli strike. Residents were warned to evacuate the 12-story Al-Jahara tower. However, health officials say there were still civilian deaths. Palestinian militants say more than 200 missiles were fired at Tel Aviv and Beersheba after the tower attack. Moving forward, Ballymurphy inquest calls grow for apology from UK government. There are growing calls for the UK government to formally apologize to the relatives of those killed in the Ballymurphy shootings of August 1971. An inquest found that 10 people killed in West Belfast among 50 years ago in the wake of an army operation were entirely innocent. They included a priest trying to help the wounded and a mother of 8. Stomach Justice Minister Naomi Long and SDLP leader Colum Eastwood have called for a government apology. In a statement issued after the announcement, a government spokesperson says it will now take time to review the report and carefully consider the conclusions. The shootings happened after an operation in which parliamentary suspects were detained without trial. But Mrs. Justice Keegan concludes that what is very clear is that all of the deceased in the series of inquests were entirely innocent of any wrongdoing on the day in question. Justice Minister Naomi Long says the UK government needs to step up and formally apologize. And now moving to the world of business, firm affirms commitment to boosting Nigeria's crypto market. A firm, Paxful, leading global peer-to-peer fintech, has restated its commitment to advancing Nigeria's crypto market. The company is doing this through constant engagement and enlightenment efforts that foster a clear market understanding while also driving increased adoption among Nigerians, particularly the youths. A statement from the organization says that the CEO and co-founder Paxful, Ray Youssef, highlighted the company's dedication to chart a course for the industry at a courtesy visit to Nigeria during a stakeholders forum organized recently in Lagos. He stated that the adoption of cryptocurrency by Nigerian youth in recent times is quite impressive, and what is most striking is the success they have made with cryptocurrency with only a basic knowledge of it. It goes to show their passion, drive, and tenacity in making the most out of every opportunity. Also speaking, Suleiman Muhyiddin, a Paxful VIP trader who started trading on the platform with $10 11 months ago, stated that crypto is a game changer and an enabler of wealth creation. I'm still on business. Petrol price, why implementation of 20% hike in freight cost is delayed. The Executive Secretary of the Petroleum Equalization Fund, Ahmed Boboy, has said that the ongoing negotiation between the federal government and labor unions over deregulation of petroleum products pump prices is delaying the implementation of 20% rise in the cost of transporting premium motor spirit petrol in the pricing template. Boboy had in February disclosed that government has approved the increase in bridging costs for petrol from 7 naira 51 kobo to 9 naira 11 kobo in petrol pricing templates of the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency. Last month, the petroleum tanker drivers had embarked on a strike over poor remuneration due to failure by their employers, the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, to increase their wages. Baboy explained that although a temporary solution has been agreed on, the full implementation of the increase was waiting for an agreement between the government and the labor over new pricing template for petrol. He also disclosed that the government is considering a scheme to pay for the transportation of gas as part of efforts to encourage the use of cooking gas in homes across the country. He says bridging or equalization for the transportation of gas will leverage on existing infrastructure used for paying for the transportation of petrol across the country. Right now, we'll be taking a break, and when we return, it shall be news stories from the world of sports. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And now on sports news, Man City crowned Premier League champions after United loss. Manchester City were crowned Premier League champions for the third time in 4 seasons after Manchester United crashed to a 2-1 defeat against Leicester. Pep Guardiola's side are 10 points clear of second-place United and have wrapped up the title with 3 games to spare. In the midst of a grueling run of 3 games and 5 days, United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer effectively handed the title to arch-rival City by picking a weakened team with 10 changes. With many of City's players watching on television, Luke Thomas' 10th-minute volley put Leicester ahead before Mason Greenwood equalized 5 minutes later. Cagliari Soyuncu's towering header in the 66th minute ensured City could pop the champagne corks for a title party that has seemed inevitable for months. City were denied the chance to celebrate on Sunday when Chelsea won 2-1 at Etihad Stadium, while United kept them waiting with a victory at Aston Villa on Sunday. But the delay was only temporary, and City, who also won the League Cup in April, can finally savor a title triumph that is all the sweeter given the obstacles they have overcome this term. In another sports news, and finally on News Desk, Egyptian boxers train hard for Olympics, hope to win medals. It's been a dry season for boxers in Egypt for several years now. Not since 2004 at the Athens Olympics have Egypt secured a boxing medal. The last time they had claimed a boxing medal was at the 1960 Games in Rome. Now Egyptian boxers are working to change that in spite of the pandemic. Egyptian boxer Abdurrahman Orabi says regardless of the presence of crowds due to the global pandemic, it differs from one player to another. The aim is to win the medal and with God's grace come back with one and make the Egyptian people happy during these hard times. At the 1960 Games in Rome, Abdul Menem El Guindi won Egypt's first boxing medal. He picked up bronze in the man's flyweight. Yusri Rek is training hard to follow in his footsteps. The hiatus lasted about a year or a year and a half for sure and affected the level of all players, especially in individual sports and especially in boxing because the sport requires close contact and many matches to level up. Rex will take part in the super heavyweight class while 33-year-old Arabi is competing in the light heavyweight division. And that's the size of the news for today from News Desk on Celebration TV. But in case you missed out, here is a recap of the headlines. Southern senators back governors on restructuring, open grazing. In Madagascar, COVID-19 vaccine restores hope amid pandemic second wave. Israel declares emergency in Lord as unrest spreads. Firm affirms commitment to boosting Nigeria's crypto market. Man City crowned Premier League champions after United loss. And now to the photo of the day. The easy way is always the most crowded because it seems without stress and hard work, but always turns out to be the long way. Now, this simply means that things are not always as they seem or appear. And until you embark on a journey, you never get to know the travails it comes with. We would also love to hear your thoughts on the photo of the day, so do well to get back to us by reaching out to us via our social media platforms. On Facebook, Celebration TV; on Instagram, My Celebration TV; on Twitter, My Celebration TV; and on YouTube, Celebration TV. Remember that your positive contribution to the wellness of the society you find yourself in or the organization you work in defines your leadership might. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed has bagged his way to success. So be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. So be a part of nation building today. I am Comfort James, and it is many thanks for watching.
To 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing aim of committing a gross of
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
Refuse.